Get ready for a date with the supernatural.
Now, I have to admit, William Murray scared the living daylights out of me when he followed me up the staircase the first time.
These are the scariest jaunts around, where many say harrowing hotels host evil spirits. Diabolical mansions boast inexplicable phenomena.
You could distinctly hear the whisperings of the words Charles and gun.
Houses, theaters, even an entire city may teeter between the realm of the living and the dead. Do you believe in ghosts? Meet people who do. Welcome to our top 10 best ghostly getaways. Ghosts. They fascinate and frighten us. But are they lost souls or just haunting memories? The tantalizing mystery drives people from all over the world to visit what many believe to be ghostly getaways. And now is your chance to go in search of the inexplicable and the unnerving. From the brooding lady in black and the passionate lady in blue to the powerful malice lurking just behind this door. Locals say these ghosts cling to their old haunts. We went to 10 ghostly getaways, and what we found may shock you. Stories of horrifying deaths, bitter ends, and unfinished business. The perfect conditions for a poltergeist. We ranked each getaway according to the scariness of the location and the probability of a paranormal close encounter. So, come gather around the campfire and grab someone close, because we're ready to count down our top 10 list of ghostly getaways. First up, the startling tale of an opera house in Georgia where some say that long-dead actors won't stop giving encores. Number 10 on our list is an entertaining getaway for ghosts. The curtain rises, the stage is set, but waiting in the wings is a phantom menace, ready to emerge from the shadows and steal the spotlight. The Springer Opera House, where some of the actors are said to perform from beyond the grave. 2 hours south of Atlanta on the banks of the Chattahoochee is Georgia's first and foremost river town, Columbus. This is where you'll find the premier opera house of the Old South, hosting the towering performances of Ethel Barrymore, Will Rogers, and even Edwin Booth, who won fame on the stage as Hamlet and infamy in life as the brother of Lincoln's assassin, John Wilkes Booth. Edwin's bitter ghost is said to be just one member of a creepy cast.
Without a doubt, the opera house is haunted. I wouldn't have said that 13 years ago. I came to the Springer Opera House as a cynic.
Paul Pierce now swears ghosts haunt the opera house. Paul's first sighting came one morning when he was alone in the prop room. Out of nowhere, a man materialized and began walking beside him, step by step, stride for stride. Just as Paul realized he was being mocked, the figure vanished into thin air. An eerie encounter he'll never forget.
That was the first time I ever saw an actual figure. The face of a man. It was very distinctive. I know exactly what he looks like. I could draw it.
Donna Pierce, the company's costume designer, claims the hauntings continue. She should know. Late one night, she found herself alone in the costume shop and had a terrifying experience. Spooky enough to make the Springer Opera House number 10 on our list. It all started as she searched in vain for a man's '52 regular jacket.
Just at that point, I felt like hands on my shoulders, and it just turned me back around. And there on the rack was this jacket sticking out from the rack that I had just been in, and I picked it out, and it was the '52 regular. So I headed back down the stairs in a hurry, and as I just entered the second level of the stairs, I looked up just to say thanks. And when I did, I saw this gentleman in full white tux, and he just bowed to me, as if to say, "You're welcome."
But Paul says only one ghost ever threatened an entire production. Art Lane, an actor whose lifelong dream was to star in a show called The Oldest Living Graduate, died tragically before he fulfilled his heart's desire. But when the company finally performed the play, Paul says Art took center stage by throwing jewelry and stealing props.
We had boots and ladies' shoes, things being mixed and matched, and things that disappeared. They just were not there when the actors went off stage to get them or to change clothes.
Can you guess how Paul and Donna discovered the identity of the ghost? It's enough to make your skin crawl. In the dead of night, they enacted a seance, using a Ouija board to channel the spirit. They asked its name. The Ouija board spelled out J. Levy, Art Lane's real name, a family secret that only his widow knew.
There are nights I find that I'm the last one to close the door and lock it. And if I'm by myself, I very often stop in the doorway and say, "Good night, Art."
A theater of the absurd or the supernatural? You be the judge. But even the critics agree that the Springer Opera House offers visitors a dramatic history of immortal actors who lived and died for the stage. From the white-hot spotlight to the dusty frontier, number 9 takes us out west to the scene of wild parties and bloody revenge. One town, one legend. This is the ghost town where the violent anthem of the West was born, and some say it still lives. 70 miles southeast of Tucson, Arizona is a living memorial to the Wild West. It's called Tombstone, and it marks the spot where the roughest and the toughest were laid to rest. But 120 years ago, Tombstone was booming. 10,000 rugged pioneers and rowdy rebels filled the streets.
The New York Times in 1882 called it the roughest, broadiest, risque spot between Basin Street and the Barbary Coast. The wildest honky-tonk of the West.
They were all looking for the same thing, fortune and fun. Fortune they found at the mines, and fun they found here at the Birdcage Theater. This is where young women entertained reckless and dangerous men, and some say their ghosts still raise a ruckus. But that never fazed Bill Hunley or his family, the owners of the Birdcage.
Well, you kind of just grew up knowing about it. Nobody ever made any big deal about it, never thought a whole lot about it.
But it wasn't until Bill opened the doors to the bordello and gaming room that he understood the ghost's true powers. That's when Bill's carpenter got the shock of his life. Old stove legs, long thought to be missing, started appearing out of nowhere.
We cannot explain this. And he would come to us and say, "Is somebody playing tricks with me?"
But not all of the Birdcage spirits are so benign. Legend tells of the hostile rivalry between two bordello prostitutes, Margarita, the dark-eyed newcomer, and Gold Dollar, the reigning queen of the night. Gold Dollar accused Margarita of stealing her boyfriend. That was the beginning of the end.
Second time Gold Dollar caught Margarita sitting on Billy's lap in the bar room of the Birdcage. She ran in, she said, to the effect that she was going to cut her heart out. She had warned her. She pulled a stiletto from her garter, jumped on top of her, and actually proceeded to cut her heart out. So she jumped up with the stiletto in her hand, covered with blood, and ran through the birdcage and out the back door.
Many say Margarita's spirit haunts the birdcage today, waiting for her payback.
We've had many, many people say that they've seen her. And said that she stands there in this beautiful dress and then just fades away.
A town without limits. The legend of Tombstone, Arizona is kept alive at the Birdcage Theater. From stage to scream, our number 8 takes you to San Diego, where a distinguished gentleman and some unfinished business are the makings of a house of spirits. Cold spots and unexplainable noises are the telltale signs of a haunting. It's been recognized as an official haunted house by the state of California, and some say it's the most haunted in the country, the Whaley House.
It's definitely a place where the spirit of the past lives, and people come to experience that here.
San Diego, California is better known for fair weather than phantoms. But if you venture deep into the Old Town district, you'll find America's ultimate haunted house. The strange stirrings began in 1856 with the story of Thomas Whaley, a man trying to do the right thing. But a political struggle over a back payment triggered his financial and emotional ruin.
There's multiple stories about the stairway, and he was trying to keep people from going upstairs, that he's still looking to be paid for the county, and felt that his grievances were never redressed properly. Some people have said they've felt cold hands on them trying to keep them from going up the staircase, and there's even been stories of people felt like there's a brush of cold wind past them as they go up the staircase. If we come around back here...
For Bruce Coons, the house and its history has become his life's work. He heads an organization dedicated to preserving the Whaley House, and its ghost stories have been linked to a tragedy involving Thomas's daughter Violet. As a young woman, Violet fled a failed marriage. Violet committed suicide with a .32 caliber bullet through the heart.
There's been reports of a woman crying at the back of the house. There's even have an affidavit from a policeman who said he came here and found somebody crying in the back of the house. Her suicide note was actually found on the back porch.
But the most horrific deed to occur at this spot happened before the Whaley House was even built. It was the hanging of a man known as Yankee Jim Robinson, punished by death for stealing a boat for a joyride. He was buried here.
Yankee Jim thought they were kidding. He thought they were kidding till the day they hung him.
Scandal, suicide, execution. Old Town San Diego covets its ghostly secrets, and a trip to the Whaley House might raise more questions than you can answer. Still to come on Ghostly Getaways, the tragic Lady in Blue. Obsessed with love, the locals say that death becomes her. And is this hotel plagued by a supernatural drifter with malicious intent? Our countdown of our top 10 places where things go bump in the night. Next up is a legendary woman in California whose love is said to transcend all, even death. Our number 7 is a story of hearts and souls. Legend tells of an illicit love affair ended by tragedy. During the Roaring '20s, a married woman fell victim to the charms of a speakeasy piano player. She always dressed in blue and returned nightly to see him play, until one night, her life was cut short by a horrible car accident. 70 years later, an out-of-order phone rings and a face in the mirror vanishes. Who could be responsible? Locals say it's the Lady in Blue. "25 miles south of San Francisco is the beautiful coastal town of Moss Beach. Filled with windswept bluffs and beaches, its best-known landmark is a restaurant called the Moss Beach Distillery. Its best-known ghost is the Lady in Blue. Bill Gillespie says the ghost spends her nights playing tricks on customers while looking for her long-lost lover.
One night, the manager and I were sitting at the corner of the bar with her with a full view of the entryway, and we noticed that the big lamp above the reception area here was swinging. And my first thought was, well, it must be a breeze, so I came out, checked the doors, opened the doors, closed the doors, and looked around. I could not find any reason why the lamp would be swinging. And it kept on swinging, same arc, and then after 30 minutes, it slowly slowed down and came to a stop.
Bill says the Lady in Blue once stalked a manager who was the spitting image of her old lover. The ghoulish advances came through a surprising medium. And whether prank or poltergeist, the whispers of passion put the manager in a cold sweat.
Each time he picked up the phone, there was nothing on the other end except it would be a low whisper, and it was, I want you. Needless to say, at that point, he hung up the phone, stopped his clothes out, ran out the door, locked everything up, and didn't come back till the next day.
Many claim that not even women are safe from the Lady in Blue. The numerous reports of her face in the mirror of the women's restroom makes the Moss Beach Distillery number 7 on our list of ghostly getaways.
Coming out of the stall and going over to the sink and expecting whoever was in the stall next to them to come out, and realizing after a while that there was nobody in the stall. They would see faces in the mirror.
Creepy things like that. A couple of us will go in the bathroom at a time. We don't go alone.
A secret affair leads to a horrific tragedy and a haunting love. 7 decades of unexplainable sights and sounds in Moss Beach, California, where her love and her legend remains immortal. The Lady in Blue. From the windswept bluffs of California to the tumbleweeds of New Mexico, number 6 takes you to the old frontier for a ghostly encounter with a bitter cowboy.
My daughter and I were cleaning a room down by the lobby, heard men talking right around the corner, and we went around to help them. Nobody there. Lights go on when you've turned them off. Lights go off when you've turned them on. It's a little bit weird, but you know, it's so common that I've gotten used to it.
Deep in the old Southwest, just off the Santa Fe Trail, is a place where legends rubbed elbows with outlaws. But today, its residents are famous for another reason. They're dead.
This was absolutely a paragon of the Old West, with cowboys coming into the saloon and shooting bullet holes in the ceiling and doing cattle deals, driving cattle on the Santa Fe Trail through this area.
40 miles southwest of Taos, New Mexico, sits the sleepy ranching town of Cimarron. In the 1800s, Cimarron earned a reputation as the cowboy capital of northern New Mexico. One of the major landmarks back then was the St. James Hotel, founded by Abe Lincoln's personal chef, Henri Lambert. It boomed as the watering hole for history's A-list of Western legends, including Jesse James and Wyatt Earp. Over those years, the St. James Hotel witnessed an astounding 26 ghastly deaths and murders. William Champion and his family are the current owners.
We noticed almost immediately that things were happening here that were not normal.
It's rumored that Henri Lambert's wife Mary was a prostitute and lived in a corner room so she could see her clients as they arrived. Perhaps this is why some guests still feel like they're being watched today, see strange shadows, and even detect an unusual scent. Could it be Mary's ghost? While Mary is considered a friendly spirit, her next-door neighbor is not. The ghost of T.J. Wright is said to reside here in room 18. Legend has it that T.J. won the rights to the hotel from Henri in a poker game, but then was murdered in cold blood. Some say by Henri. Can you think of a better motive for a haunting?
He likes to think he still owns the hotel, so he hangs around. When my son and another cook were having a heated argument here in the kitchen, suddenly a knife flew off the shelf and landed sticking upward in the mat between the two of them. And suddenly they realized that someone was telling them, "Stop your arguing."
In the modern-day ghost town of Cimarron, New Mexico, the St. James Hotel, a place of ghostly mischief. Just don't check into room 18, or you may never check out. Still feeling brave? Well, your worst nightmares are yet to come. Up next, a mutilated soldier from the Civil War who defies explanation and even exorcism. And we're getting closer to our #1 ghostly getaway as our countdown continues. From haunted houses to ghost towns, you've seen 5 of the freakiest phantom centers in the nation. Here's a quick review. Out-of-this-world performances at the Springer Opera House, bloody revenge at the Birdcage Theater, scandal at the Whaley House, the mysterious lady in blue at the Moss Beach Distillery, and a high-stakes haunting at the St. James Hotel. Still to come, a mansion full of spooky suicides, a ghost that keeps coming back for seconds, and our #1 ghostly getaway. But first, go to the site of violent death and destruction for #5, where a harrowing exorcism brings whispers in the night. The Siege of Vicksburg in 1863. Tens of thousands of soldiers violently killed or maimed. Many died here in the backyard of this stately antebellum mansion. And some say their lost souls are still here at the McRaven House. "44 miles west of the state capital, Jackson, Vicksburg rests on the mighty Mississippi. Over 13,000 unknown soldiers are buried here in the largest Civil War cemetery in the U.S. During the pivotal battle, the Army commandeered the mansion for a critical and creepy purpose.
This was a staff officer's camp and a field hospital, and they were performing surgeries here. There are people buried all around on these grounds, so there's a lot of activity here. Heck of a lot of activity.
One of the most famous apparitions here is Union Army Captain McPherson. He came here shortly after the Battle of Vicksburg ended and soon disappeared. But Leland believes the captain's spirit, dripping with blood, returned to say that he was murdered by Southern sympathizers.
Well, McPherson was spotted looking in the window here at the house by one of my tour guides several years ago. And he was reported to be seen in this house some months after the siege, standing at the foot of the bed, upstairs in my bedroom.
This is where Mary Elizabeth Howard died during childbirth in 1836. She was 14. After seeing her all over the mansion, Leland got the eerie feeling that she knew him. On a hunch, he did some research, and what he found shocked him to the core. Can you guess? Turns out they're both related to the same family.
I just found this out about 3 years ago, and I've had the house since 1984, So you can imagine how that surprised me.
But Leland says not every ghost feels like family. The first specter Leland confronted here had been dead for nearly 100 years, and this grim spirit was up to no good. One reason we rank the McRaven house number 5 on our list.
Now, I have to admit, William Murray scared the living daylights out of me when he followed me up the staircase the first time. And it shook me up, so I called Father Cliff McInnes, who was an Episcopal priest here in Vicksburg at that time, and had him come bless the house.
Vicksburg, Mississippi, a silent witness to the pain and anguish of war. Did the human atrocities here spawn a house of spirits? It's difficult to say, but one question remains. When Leland dies, will he join them?
Well, the ghost of Leland has absolutely no intention on staying in this place. As much as I love it, I'm going to trade this mansion for the mansion in heaven.
Now go to Florida to visit a town famous for its afterlife. You won't believe your eyes when you see the tragic legacy of St. Augustine's haunted lighthouse.
They both simultaneously saw a woman dressed all in black ascending the staircase. They went after her and checked around the inn, the building at that time. There was no one there.
Doors have opened that we know we close, windows open, lights coming on, all those kinds of things, just enough to kind of let you know that they're around.
This is where worlds collide. The land and the sea, the living and the dead. Welcome to St. Augustine, Florida. America's most ancient city is also reputed to be its most haunted. Just an hour below Jacksonville on the Florida coast, you'll find historic St. Augustine, Florida. Its long and unusual history began more than 400 years ago with the construction of what some say is a haunted fort. As time passed, the city grew, but the hauntings continued. Now just about everyone in town has a story to tell.
Well, it's the oldest city in the United States, so of course there are going to be ghosts here.
The Casablanca Inn is now an elegant bed and breakfast, but it was originally opened by an enterprising widow who conspired with Prohibition-era bootleggers and rum runners. The woman took a hefty cut of the profits and developed a system to help her guests evade authorities. Harry Stafford is a ghost guide.
She would then get up on top of the building on the Widow's Walk here and arrange some signals with her smuggler friends. So she would wave her lantern one way when it was safe for them to come in, another way when the revenuers were here. Apparently she was very attached to this house because her spirit has been seen or sensed here a number of times since. Fishermen coming in the inlet on stormy nights claim that they have seen someone with a lantern on top of this building guiding them into safety.
And in this city of unexplainable shapes and noises, there's also a place that even skeptics take seriously. Every year, 140,000 people visit the St. Augustine Lighthouse, known for the ghost of a young girl who was killed here during a construction accident. Curator Celeste Hausman saw her.
She was looking up at the lightkeeper's house and saw something in one of the windows of the lightkeeper's house and thought she couldn't possibly be seeing what she thought she was seeing. There was a young figure, about so tall, looking out the window with long dark hair, and it was a girl, and she looked straight into my friend's eyes and flipped a lock of hair over her shoulder and disappeared.
It's America's oldest city, a foreboding place that knows no boundaries between past and present, and some say even life and death. For the eternal city of St. Augustine, Florida, time has no meaning. Getting chills? Well, our top 3 are going to scare you stiff. Up next, a lonely old lady in Charleston whose ghost likes to go out to eat. And a seance in St. Louis that scares up a whole carnival of souls. Back to ghostly getaways. Our top 10 list of spooky trips. We're fast approaching the top spot, but before we reveal our ghostliest getaway, it's time for our number 3. Try visiting Charleston for the tale of an old spinster. The local restaurant knows her as the only regular that doesn't tip. It's no wonder. She's dead.
You know she's here, but yes, it scares you terribly. You want to run and get away from it, and it's just uncontrollable.
A little old lady goes to the grave as she lived, alone. Zoe St. Amon's search for friendship ended in vain, but residents of Charleston claim that she never gave up. Can Zoe's ghost make up for the lost time? Come, see for yourself. Charleston, South Carolina, a city so beautifully blended between the past and the present that some call it a living museum. In this city, a schoolmom discouraged from marrying, Zoe St. Amon lost her sole companion when her sister died. She wandered through the streets in a state of dementia and was eventually locked up and left to die. She's been gone almost 50 years, but historian Ed Macy says Zoe's back.
She's trying to find something that she did not have when she was a living, breathing human. She was a very lonely person in life, and I think these recurring paranormal visits are a cry out for attention.
After she passed away, Zoe's home was turned into a restaurant called Poogan's Porch. Joanne Brown recalls her first encounter when she began working there.
When I was manager closing up at night, I would hear noises, the kitchen door swishing back and forth, chairs sliding across the floor, some silverware rattling. I thought first it was just a prowler, and so I very scared. I was actually just terrified about it. After finding out that third time around, I called the owner, and they finally told me that the house was haunted. I still get chills thinking about it.
The chef at Poogan's Porch, Isaac Vanderhorst, didn't believe in Zoe's ghost, but that was before he met her. His story is why the restaurant is our number 3 ghostly getaway. He was alone in the kitchen early one morning, and he fixed himself a cup of coffee. He stepped out just for a minute.
And when I came back, the coffee was gone. So I thought maybe I didn't fix it, so I went to fix another cup. When I came back, the coffee was there, just where I left it. But this time it was lifted around the rim of the cup, and some of the coffee was drunk out of it. So, and I just got scared then, and I just threw that away.
What does Zoe St. Amon want? If it's attention, she's got it. But many believe this old ghost may have more tricks up her sleeve. Believe it or not, her ghost is always on the menu at Poogan's Porch in Charleston. Zoe's death was peaceful by comparison with our number 2 ghostly getaway. In St. Louis, there's a mansion said to be haunted by the ghosts of a quadruple suicide. They ruled one of America's earliest and largest brewing companies and built a sprawling mansion with their wealth. But neither money nor power could save the Lemp family from a horrifying curse. Behind the doors of the Lemp mansion lived pain, suffering, and haunted lives. St. Louis, Missouri, the gateway to the West. At the turn of the century, the Lemp Brewery filled 10 city blocks, employed 500 workers, and made the family millions. But Prohibition and the untimely death of his favorite son drove Charles Lemp over the edge. He put a bullet in his brain and turned this American dream into a grisly nightmare. The Lemp empire crumbled, and the children inherited a legacy of suicide. When it was over, 3 more would die by their own hand, and some say they're still here.
We've experienced sightings on every floor and at all times of the day.
Paul Pointer's part of the new family dynasty at Lemp Mansion. 25 years ago, he turned it into a bed and breakfast and restaurant, but soon discovered that the opulent architecture wasn't the only thing left behind from the first family. Lights flicker, doors slam, and heavy drawers close themselves.
I was working late in this room one evening. I accidentally sat my keys on the mantle. Happened to notice that this candle wasn't lit at the time. As I left, I made sure the place was all dark, pitch black, lights were turned off. And as I came back in, forgotten my keys, looking for them, came down the hallway, rounded the corner, and realized there was an eerie light cast on Lillian's face. As I rounded the corner, I saw my keys right by this lit candle.
And we call this our crown chakra.
But Paul wasn't convinced that his house was haunted, so he ordered a seance led by Betsy Bellinger and a team of paranormal experts.
We would like to welcome the spirits of the Lemp Mansion into our circle, and we thank them for letting us be here in their home. If they have
Paul believes they contacted Charles Lemp. An eccentric recluse, Charles was the last son to commit suicide in the mansion.
And this one particular seance, we decided to tape it. And after we played back the tape, you could hear the whisperings, distinctly hear the whisperings of the words Charles and gun.
The Lemp dynasty, once blessed with greatness and power, then cursed by tragedy and suicide. But many say even death has failed to loosen this family's grip on the city of St. Louis. Whether haunted by phantoms or just disturbing history, this mansion casts a chilling shadow. Mirror, mirror on the wall, which is the ghostliest getaway of all? Stick around to find out. Up next, our number 1. 10 ghostly getaways. Our countdown of our top 10 supernatural sites around the country. We're in the home stretch, but before we reveal the scariest and spookiest of them all, let's review where we've been so far. Number 10, the Springer Opera House in Columbus, Georgia. Number 9, Tombstone's Birdcage Saloon. Number 8, San Diego's Whaley House. Number 7, the Distillery in Moss Beach, California. Number 6, the St. James Hotel in Cimarron, New Mexico. And 5, Vicksburg's McCraven House. 4, the city of St. Augustine, Florida. 3, Poogan's Porch in Charleston, South Carolina. 2, St. Louis's Lemp Mansion. And our number 1 takes us into the Deep South for a picture providing ghostly evidence of the mysterious Lady in Black. "28 manicured oaks mirror 28 stately columns, an illusion of perfect symmetry, but looks can be deceiving. Just behind the facade, chaos reigns, a broken clock ticking, a candlestick flying in the air, and faint whispers when no one's there. But the spookiest of all is the Lady in Black. Her haunting presence has been seen all over the Oak Alley plantation. The plantation is just an hour west of the Big Easy, New Orleans. Once a cattle town, today Vacherie is best known for its haunted plantation. It was built in 1839 by wealthy sugar planter Jacques Romain for his wife Selina. Every detail was considered, from the landscape to the color of the walls. Years passed and it eventually sat empty. That's when the home began to take on a life of its own. Sandra Scheck-Snyder understands the plantation and all its mysterious moods.
It's so peaceful, so relaxing. But the house changes as the day goes on. And in the afternoon, after we've had a full day, and it's 5:30, almost 6 in the afternoon, the house gets this very lonesome feeling, like you're leaving and she doesn't want you to leave.
It's here in this stately room where 36 guests visiting the plantation got the fright of their lives. They all saw a candlestick fly across the table. Did they witness powers from another realm, or just a fluke of nature?
And this really excited everyone there, so we felt that maybe there was a presence in the room and decided that maybe she didn't want us there.
Down the hall in the master bedroom, a visiting couple photographed this intricate mirror. But when the photo was developed, they were horrified to see the haunting image of a young girl with long hair.
So they sent us the film, telling us what they saw and requesting us to develop it. So we did. And sure enough, we saw the same thing that they did, that the mannequin was headless in the mirror, but outside of the mirror, on the mannequin itself, was a head with long black hair.
She may be the ghost of Louise Romain, the plantation owner's daughter who was badly injured while escaping from a drunken suitor. Her leg had to be amputated as a result of the injury.
No one would want to marry her with only one leg. So she left. She left this house, although she didn't want to leave. And she moved away and she joined the Carmelite nuns.
Today she's known as the Lady in Black, and Sandra knows her all too well.
And I'm sitting here on the stool at the piano and I'm focusing on the bottom of the staircase, really without any thought in my mind. And at the bottom of the staircase, this woman appears, all dressed in black. And I'm thinking, what is this woman doing here? And the house is all locked, I'm all alone. And I got up to walk toward her, she turned toward me, and then she disappeared. And I thought, I did not see this. I know I didn't see this.
A classic storybook image of the South, Oak Alley Plantation, with imposing columns, groomed gardens, and detailed decor. But it's really Vacherie, Louisiana's grand illusion. And in a photo finish, it's our #1 ghostly getaway. You have just experienced some of the most harrowing haunts in the United States. These ghostly getaways scare us to death with their violent legacies. But if you travel there, will you encounter actual ghosts or just your own imagination? Proof remains elusive, but one thing is sure. When you visit a ghostly getaway, seeing is believing.